Hello, hi, hello, how are you? My name is Wendy Martinez, also known as the Geek Goddess. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, hello. Today we are going to, I have a reading vlog for you guys. And it is a reading vlog that I'm very excited for because we are going to be reading YouTubers' favorite standalone, or Booktubers' favorite standalone novels. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I have chosen 4 different booktubers that I watch, talk about some of their favorite standalones, and then I'm going to read them and see how similar my tastes are to them. And then once I decide on the final winner, I might just do a whole reading vlog where I just literally just read their favorites. This would probably be a lot more fair if they weren't different genres. I might not do a competition, but we'll see. There's not going to be a winner, but we'll see who's which book I liked the best. So I have 4 different booktubers that I love watching. Obviously these are not the only booktubers that I love watching, but these people had favorite standalone where they have videos where they talk about their favorite standalones or in some way or another. So the first one is going to be Riley Marie, and she has a whole video where she talks about some of her favorite standalones. One of them being this one, Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. So that's going to be for the fantasy genre. Now let's talk about thrillers. So for thrillers, of course, I had to go with Miss Gabby Reads, and she has a video where she talks about some of her favorite thrillers, and one of them is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. And so I'm excited to have a copy of this one already on my shelves, and I'm going to be reading this one as well. The next booktuber that we have is Miss Larry Reads, and she has a video where she talks about some of her favorite books, one of them being For the Fans. And this is a romance. And then the last genre, of course, we have to go with horror. So for this one I choose booktuber Mandy's Morgue of Horror, and one of her favorite standalone horror novels is Episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. So that is it, you guys. Those are going to be the 4 books that I read, and then we will come back at the very end, and then you guys are going to hear my final thoughts on which one was the best. Hello everyone, good morning. So I'm currently getting some editing done for another video that I have been working on, but I'm also listening to episode 13. So in this one, I'm currently 27% in, and initial thoughts, it's going great. I'm having a great time. The audiobook has a full cast, which I really like. It also has mixed media, so if you guys like mixed media, I highly recommend this. I'm having such a great time. We are basically following these group of paranormal investigators, but they go about it with a different approach, because usually paranormal investigators, they usually believe in ghosts. You know, they are open to ghosts and they're trying to prove that they're real. These paranormal investigators specifically go about it with a scientific approach. So even if they don't find any evidence of ghosts in an episode, it's still kept very entertaining for their viewers, and that's why they've had such a long run with their show, and their show is called Fade to Black or something like that. So far it's been going great. They just got to this spot that's supposed to be really, really haunted, and when they get there, they all feel this sinking, heavy feeling. But as soon as the cameras turn on, it's all that noise, all that emotion that they felt just dies out. Everything just goes silent, as if the ghost or whatever know that the camera is there. It is now day 2, and they are finally getting some phenomenon on camera. It looks like they brought little toys and stuff with them, and the ghosts seem to have been playing with the toys overnight, and they got that on camera. Also, a lot of their batteries are kind of dead, even though they had just charged them. And they also find one of their Bibles on the floor, completely torn to shreds, which one of the girls makes a comment like, doesn't that mean that we're dealing with a demon? And they're like, it's okay, because now we got evidence. Okay, we got evidence now. So it's great. It's been going great. I'm having such a great time. I love the full cast. I'm loving the audiobook. So far I'm enjoying it. If you're a fan of paranormal activity, if you're a fan of like paranormal investigation shows, you would probably really like this. And if also you are one of those people that like are a little bit skeptical but still believe, but still are skeptical and like the sciencey aspect of it, you'll like this too, because I kind of find myself, like, I believe in it, but I do like the sciencey stuff too. So you get a bit of both with this, and it's been going great. Hello everyone, good morning. I am over here dog sitting the dog at my brother's house, and I am about 55% done with episode 13 by Craig DeLuey, and I'm super like liking it. I'm having a good time. I think it's so good. I really like the whole mixed media aspect. I like the characters. I don't know if it's because I'm like listening to the audiobook and they all have their own voices, that they all seem so realistic and like fully fleshed out characters. I'm having a great time. Like, I literally feel like I'm listening to a like paranormal investigation show on audio. And it's like, it's such a cool experience, you know? And it's cool how each of these characters have their own perspective on how the paranormal works, why they're doing it. And I'm having a great time. Things are getting bonkers. Things are getting crazy. One of the characters literally just had a mental breakdown and just like took off. And I think she went missing because there's like, something's going on with this character. And I'm having a great time. Hey you guys, it is me, it is I. Hi, hello, hi. Welcome back. Today, I'm going to be giving you guys my final review on episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. Yes, I know that I am in my car right now, and it is a weird place to be recording this, but you know what? It's fine. It is fine. I literally just finished the audiobook right now. I listened to it via audio, and here's my thoughts on it. First things first, I obviously didn't read the physical, but I do highly, highly recommend, if you're going to listen to this, if you're going to read this, I highly recommend the audiobook version, because there's a full cast of characters, they have sound effects, and it just brought the whole experience to life in such like a huge, crazy, amazing way. And if you are a fan of ghost hunters, if you are a fan of ghost adventures, if you're a fan of Nuke's Top 5 and you like watching paranormal stuff caught on camera, you would love this book, especially the audiobook version, because the whole time that I was listening to it, it literally felt like I was listening to a ghost hunting episode, a 8-hour long ghost hunting episode, and it was great. It was fantastic. I had such a great time. It is very dark, so check up trigger warnings, especially if your mental state is a little bit fragile. If it's a little fragile, I would be careful with this. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because like my mental state has been a bit fragile. Like, I've mentioned this before, but I work from home, so it's really hard to, I don't really get out of my house, and the more that I'm at home, the less I want to be outside, and that really messed with my head, and it really causes me to have, like, mental issues, and I do break down from time to time, and I was having my breakdowns, and while listening to this, so I did have to put it, did have to stop it for like a little bit, or else I'm pretty sure if we would have finished this a little bit faster. I did still finish it in about 4 days, which is really, really fast. So just watch your mental state when you are listening to this. Like, make sure that you're like prepared for a dark read, because it is pretty dark. So I kind of described already what it's about. It's about this like group of ghost hunters that film this episode, and then something happens, and then the footage never goes out, and then we don't know exactly what happens, like where everything went wrong. But you do find like all this like found footage stuff that you kind of like piece together. Okay, this is what happened. And we follow the story and we know exactly what happens, and it's crazy. It's bonkers what happened. I like that these ghost hunters took a scientific approach to things. However, even though the message, I feel like the message behind it is that like science hasn't like solved everything, and I think that's the case for like real life too, you know, like there's still a lot of things that science cannot explain. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be explainable one day. It just means that there are still a lot of things to discover and unlock. For example, like what happens after death. And I think it's a great, I liked it. I don't know what else to say. Is like, I really enjoyed it. The pacing, it started off fairly slow because not too much happened towards the beginning. But once the paranormal stuff started happening, the pacing really picked up. Especially when, you know, because once things started happening, it just, like, their whole investigation took, like, a nosedive in the sense of things went wrong real quick. And from that going on forward, the pacing was like super fast. You got to get to know these characters in a much deeper level, and I think that was like the author's intention at like the very beginning. Like these characters just seem like, oh, okay, they're like ghost hunters, you know, like it's what we see on TV. Is like, okay, we kind of know their personality but not really. But once you get towards like the end, you see the darkness of each of these characters, and I feel like that was the intention, and I really enjoyed that as well. So overall, I'm going to give this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I don't want to give it the full 5 just because I don't know, it doesn't feel like a full 5 star for me. Like full 5 stars, like this is going to be my favorite of all time, and it doesn't feel like that for me. I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Hello, it is me, it is I. Hi, I hope you can hear me with these like AirPods in. So I'm going to give you guys my first update with Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. I have been reading this one physically. I've mainly been reading it on my Kindle, but I'm about 25% in, and in this one we are basically following our main character Bennett, and it picks off right away. Like right off the bat, this book is fast effing paced. We follow Bennett, and she is 14 years old, and basically her mom wants to regain status in society, so she decides to marry her daughter, her 14-year-old daughter, off to this like wrinkly, crinkly man who's gross and disgusting, but he's got a lot of money and power. So she's like, oh, you're gonna marry him, Bennett. So right off the bat, that old crinkly, wrinkly man comes over to Bennett's house, and Bennett's supposed to be getting ready when she hears her dad's hounds, and so she jumps out the window, steals this man's horse, the wrinkly crinkly man's horse, and she goes to see her father. And her father is actually one of the most world infamous pirates. And so she sees her dad and she has fun with him, and then all of a sudden the guards catch the dad. Okay, the guards catch the dad, and so she runs into the forest, and this wrinkly crinkly man, he's like, ha ha ha, you're gonna marry me and I'm gonna take what I want, and please check up trigger warnings because there is some SA in this book. But she ends up unaliving this man, and then her mom is there, and then she's like, what's going on? And then they're like, and Bennett is like, oh, they caught dad. And so her mom runs off, and she sees that the father has been unalived already. Like he's already like hanging off the gallows or whatever. And so the mother jumps off a cliff, and Bennett loses both of her parents the same day. And so it starts off very dark and tragic, but wow, does it start off so like intense and like fast paced. So after this, her father's like first mate or whatever is like, don't worry, Bennett, I'll take care of you. And he's like, oh, your father says that when you become of age, this is going to be your ship. So
he takes her on the ship, and basically he maintains it until Bennett is of age or ready to become captain of the pirates. And then all of a sudden we jump 7 years, and Bennett is now the captain of this ship, and we are seeing her like cruise through the ocean, and she is basically trying to get away from someone, and we don't know exactly who she's trying to get away from until we find out that it's an ex that actually cheated on her, and I guess she married him, but now he's like trying to get her back, and then she's like, no, you're scum, you're pathetic, I wanted to marry for love, and I thought I could trust you. In reality, you were just going under all these girls' skirts, and this and that. And so we follow that, and then she like ends up like catching him captive, taking him captive in her boat or whatever. And now the boat is getting attacked by like this like Navy captain, and I think Bennett is going to jump so that she saves her crew, but she's gonna let herself be taken into custody because she doesn't want to risk losing the rest of her crew. She's like, you guys come back and save me when you can, but for now, he just wants me, so let me be held captive, please, okay? Like, I would rather just it be me than the rest of you. And so that's where we're at. So as you can see, this book is very fast-paced, very intense. I am 100 and something pages in, but it's so good. Like, right off the bat, it's like fast. And they throw all these things at you. Like, I haven't read a book this fast-paced since, like, Fourth Wing. Okay, this book is really fast-paced, but I'm having a great, grand old time. Like, I'm really enjoying it. So, I think there's going to be a love triangle here, but we shall see. I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying the main character. She's such a badass, like, female main character. I absolutely love her. However, I cannot stand the husband. I don't know if we're supposed to like him or not, but I don't like him. I'd rather her be with, like, his brother. At this moment in time. But we'll see what's going on. Hey you guys, so I am here with a update for Sea of Ruin. I have officially like 60% into the book, okay, and as you guys know, this is one of Riley Marie's favorite fantasy romances, or I guess it's not fantasy because as far as I've been reading, it reads more like historical romance where it's like a pirate, but there's been no like fantasy elements at all. Still, so I was having a really good time reading this, okay? At first, I was having such a great time. We were meeting this, like, badass female character, and as the story progressed, and then we see her get captured by this other... We see her get captured by the Navy, right? Obviously, we see her get captured by the Navy, and the guy that's leading this Navy ship is, like, super handsome, and so they end up falling in love. I have mixed feelings about this guy. Like, some girls like the alpha sort of male in stories, in books, and I don't really like the alpha male. Like, I don't like when they're like, oh, you listen to what I say. I don't like that. That's like a no-no for me. So he's kind of a little annoying, but he's not like overbearingly like annoying. Do you get what I mean? Like, I still appreciate the romance. However, I feel like they don't really have too many encounters before all of a sudden, like, he's all up in her and the romance happens. I just feel like it happens too quickly. Like, they literally barely even talked, and then all of a sudden they're all up on each other because they're physically attracted to each other, and all of a sudden they feel like they're in love. But you don't even know this person, really. Do you get what I mean? So I just feel like that progressed too quickly, and I feel like I appreciate the smut. However, I would have appreciated it if we got a little more build up, because it just felt like something was lacking. Like, I knew there was physical attraction there, but don't say that you're in love with this person if you haven't had more than like a few encounters with them. You talked to them a couple of times, and yes, you've had like 1 or 2 deep conversations, but that's enough for you to fall in love with somebody in like 13 days. Like, come on, like, really? Okay, sorry, I got cut off. But so that's what made this main character, who I was really enjoying at first, sort of infuriating, because I'm like, how do you fall in love with these people and you say that you're never gonna let your heart get hurt again, and then you do it within like 13 days, you fall in love with somebody else? It just made no sense to me. I'm getting a little frustrated with it. However, we are getting to a pivotal point in the story, so I'm hoping that we finally stray away from like the smut and finally get more plot. So here's to hoping that this is, because this was looking like a 5-star read in the beginning, and like now, I mean, I'm still having a great time because I'm enjoying the pirates, but right now I want to say like a 4. It's not terrible. I'm still enjoying it because I think it's just I was so desperate for pirates that I'm enjoying what I'm getting. But I still feel like it's lacking a lot, if that makes any sense. So there's my update on Sea of Ruin. So I will see you at the end when I have my final review. Alright, hi, hello. We are back with a book review on Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. This was Riley Marie's book, one of her favorite standalones that I decided to read. And this book, okay, when I was first reading it, I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. And then we got to a point where it was just smut, no plot, and I was like, all right, like I don't mind the smut, I like the smut, but there needs to be plot. And I just felt like a lot of it was not plot-y. But then we started moving with the plot, and I was like, all right, this is getting good again. This is getting good again. And it was good. It was really good. The story went exactly where I thought it was gonna go. You know, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't thrown through a loop. I wasn't like, oh my god. I was like, I knew it. I knew it. Okay, it was so predictable that I knew what was the case. And but I think that Pam Godwin wanted us to know, because she gave us little hints throughout the story where the story went. Overall, I had a really fun time. Bennett started as my favorite character. I thought she was a badass. She's a female pirate that everybody not fears but respects. But then she quickly lost my respect after a while, and I'm like, get over it. Like she was just getting very irritating to me. Like, if somebody cheats on you, like, I understand, yes, those feelings are gonna be there. Yes, be in pain, but get over it. Don't hang on to that person. But then, I can't even say, but overall, okay, I understand now. And I can't completely blame the guy, because I know more now than I knew initially. Okay, and this book was really good. I am going to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, because like I said, there were parts where it was just so slow and the smut just dragged on and on and on and on, and like most of the time, most of the setting takes place in the captain's quarters. That's the main setting, if you know what I mean. But other than that, there are parts that like are very action-packed, but for the most part it was like smut. And that's when I was like, okay, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. So I'm giving that's what knocked down a star for me. I wish it had a little bit more plot. It started out so fast-paced, and then it got so slow-paced, and then it intensified the pacing again, and then it slowed down again. And it was just like this inconsistent pacing that I knocked out a star because of that. Plus, again, I wanted more plot. And the character was very infuriating to me at times. So overall, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the best book, but I did really have a fun time. And I still, even though it's been weeks, yes, it's been weeks since I finished this, I'm still thinking about it a lot, like on a daily basis. I'm like, that life seems nice. Yeah, that life seems nice. So that's my overall final review for Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. So do me and Riley Marie have matching tastes?
Kind of. It seems like it. So I'm just like looking for that next person I'm going to read might be reading like their favorite books overall to see how much our tastes match. And this one's not looking too shabby. I was expecting it to have a lot more fantasy, and it has no fantasy. This is like a historical fiction romance, not a fantasy romance. Like don't go in here expecting fantasy, because that's literally what I thought. I thought there was going to be pirates. There is pirates, but I thought there was going to be some sort of supernatural or fantasy element to it, and it didn't have that. So just keep that in mind when you go into it. Don't expect fantasy, because it's not. Hi, so I am here with my very first update on The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I am, as you can see, I'm like right here. So I'm about, I want to say 20%-ish in, about 20%-ish in to The Silent Patient. And so far, it's okay. My first impressions are that it's okay. All right. It's not, like, it's enough to, like, keep me, like, reading, but it's not so much where, like, I'm fully invested into this story, at least not yet. So in this, we are following our main character, Alicia, I believe it is. Alicia, but they call her Alicia. They say her name weird. It doesn't sound like Alicia to me. So Alicia is basically, she was this normal woman. She had a normal life. She was normal. Like, she had some issues in the past with, like, mental illnesses, but other than that, like, she seemed to be living a normal life. She had a normal husband, and then all of a sudden, one day, she just comes home and just boom, 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 shoots her husband in the face multiple times, and then just never says a word after that. And so, because of her past mental illness issues and the fact that she's just stopped talking after that, they decide to put her in, like, a psych ward, because they feel like that's probably where she belongs. And then we follow a psychotherapist who just gets hired at this psych ward where she's being held at, because he really wants to get her to talk, basically, and he wants to create, like, a whole book about her, and, like, wants to do this big thing and basically just get her to tell her story. And so he decides to start working for this place, and then right away he meets this other guy that works there. I think he's the security guard, and his name's, like, Yuri. And Yuri is a little weird. He's a little strange. He even tells him the story about, like, when he got here, from where he's from. I forgot where he's from. Like, he was in love with his wife, and then all of a sudden he realized that they're, like, them coming to the not coming to the United States, the United Kingdom kind of separated them, and so he started to fall in love with somebody else and kind of, like, stalked her for a little bit until she told him to, like, go away. But basically after that he realized, okay, like, I need to go find somebody else. And so him and his wife broke it off, and, like, the main character, the psychotherapist, is like, okay, why are you telling me that? And then he's like, point of the story is to just go home with your wife and forget about Alicia or whatever. And so I don't know if the psychotherapist has some sort of romantic feelings for Alicia, or if that's going to be something that's developed throughout the story. And we just met his wife as well, and his wife, I don't know, I kind of like his wife as of right now. She seems like a fun gal. So that is what's going on so far. Obviously, the main character, Alicia, has not talked. The psychotherapist is trying to get her to talk, and so that's pretty much all that's, like, happening. We still don't know pretty much anything. We know about the psychotherapist's past and the fact that he was, like, abused as a kid, which is why he and then he started doing therapy, and the therapy really helped him, and which is why he decided to become a therapist. And so, yes, so that is where we are at. And it's okay. Like I said, it's okay. It's not the greatest. I was expecting a lot, because I just hear so many great things about this, but maybe it's like how, like, sometimes with thrillers, it's like the ending that they toss at you and you're like, holy ravioli. So I'm thinking maybe that's what it is, but so far, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not, like, super fast paced or anything like that either. But I do like the way it is written, so there's that. So that's where I'm at.
Alright, so let's give an update on The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Now that I am pretty much about halfway through, as you can see, almost about halfway through, like 45-ish% of the way in. And so now it's definitely picking up, because now we're having some additional conflicts. Alicia, the girl that the psychotherapist is like trying to get to talk or whatever, he finally is able to like get a answer from her, not verbally, but she does like nod her head at him. And so now he basically tells the director of this like psych ward or whatever that he wants to get her to talk, and he thinks that he can't. So the director, whatever, after this confrontation, because I guess Alicia like jumps on him and like attacks him, he's like, you know what, you have 6 weeks. You have 6 weeks to make her talk. And so now our main character, the psychotherapist, is trying to get her to speak. Also, we have some additional problems that we didn't know firsthand were happening. They were kind of happening in the background, and now they're coming to the forefront. We are seeing some infidelity between the psychotherapist and like his wife. There's something going on there, and I like how it's also reflecting, now that we're going back in time and we're actually seeing things through Alicia's perspective, because she has like her little journal entries. We see that for some reason, and I'm pretty sure that Alex Michaelides did this on purpose, their past is sort of kind of in little subtle ways, I guess, kind of like mimicking each other in very subtle ways. Like, it's not obvious at all, but I'm catching little things and I'm like, that's a little similar to what happened back here. So there's that. So it's definitely picking up, and I'm enjoying it a lot more now.
Hello, hi, we are back with my final review on The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. So I might have already explained about what this book is about, but in the story we are following our main character, who is basically a psychotherapist, and he wants to get to the bottom of why this whole mystery about this woman who lived a normal life. Yes, she had a few mental issues in the past, but other than that, she lived a pretty normal life. Why she decided to come home one day, shoot her husband in the face, and never again speak another word. And so now she is in this hospital, in this psych ward, and this psychotherapist decides to go in and try to help her and piece together what exactly happened. So this book is good, okay? Like, getting to the very bottom of it, I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but I was not expecting the plot twist in here, okay? I have read my fair share of thrillers, especially this year, 2024. I feel like I've been reading quite a lot of thrillers this year, and even this one took me through a loop. Like, I was not expecting the plot twist that happened. This book was vastly entertaining. It kept me hooked. I kept wanting to listen to it. I kept wanting to find out what happened to Alicia. What happened to Alicia? Why she decided to never speak a word? Did she murder her husband? Or did something else happen? Did she decide that she just was never going to say a word again? Was she threatened to never speak again? There's just so many things that went through my head, and Alex Michaelides had a way of like making you like think things throughout the story, like, oh, maybe this happened, and then at the very end gives you this insane plot twist that literally bamboozles like your mind. This book was insane. This book was crazy, and the plot twist, I haven't read a plot twist like this since I read Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney. That was like my first thriller, and since then, after that first thriller, I've been chasing a book that gives me that same feeling when you get to that plot twist, and this one did it. It took years to get to it, but this one is the one. This is the one. And this was great. This, perfect in every single way. I loved it. This is probably going to be on one of my top books for 2024 because this thriller has restored my faith, my happiness, my everything in thrillers, and it made me realize, yes, I can still have that feeling again. Literally have nothing bad to say about this. Nothing. This was pure perfection. So thanks to Gabby Reads, this is like her one of her favorite standalones. Thank you, because you were right. You were right. And whoever, like, I didn't say this in like the beginning, but whoever gives me like the best book, I'm probably gonna do a whole reading vlog dedicated to books that they choose or whatever, their top favorite books, because to see if our reading tastes match, because that, yes, in every way, yes.
Hello everybody, I am bumming it today, okay, because I had a very busy day yesterday and I'm just like cleaning and stuff today while listening to my audiobook, and then tomorrow I have a busy day again. So I am listening to For the Fans by Nyla K, and this was one of Larry Reed's favorite standalone books, and I want to say about like 30-ish% through, and I was not expecting it to like it this much. I really wasn't. Like, I know that Larry Reed's tends to like romance and like light fluffy romances, and then some dark romances and like mafia romances, and that's not really like my cup of tea. Like, I like dark romances for the most part, but I don't know if like I just was curious if like our vibes like would mesh together well. And so I tried this one out, and shockingly, I really like this book. I'm really liking it. So we're following our two main characters. We're following Avi, and we are following, I forgot the brother's name. It starts with like C. Corbin? He has like a cool name. I like his name. I forgot but it's something like different. And so these two guys, they are forced to be brothers, right? Because their parents end up getting married, and they're already in high school. They're already like older, and they right away like do not get along. They like absolutely hate each other. So they completely avoid each other until they get to college, and they end up going to the same college. And then things happen, and unfortunately, their parents were rich. Like, they had a lot of money, and they were able to afford like all these luxuries at the school. And they come home one day, and it turns out that their father's company made some bad investments, and now they are shiznit broke, and they're like, we're not going to be able to pay for your school anymore. And these kids like have dreams, they have goals, they have friends at these colleges now, and they're like, we're not dropping out. So Avi makes a friend, Frankie, and Frankie has a OnlyFans account. And she's like, hey Avi, you have a really nice body, you should probably make an OnlyFans account. And so he's like, I'll give it a try. And he ends up making a lot of money. And then one day, Frankie offers him a proposal of like filming like a threesome with like her and someone else. And he happens to get his stepbrother involved because he knows that his stepbrother has no way of making any additional money. And he very hesitantly agrees, but then goes for it, and they make like $3,000 from it. And then people want to start seeing more of Avi and his like stepbrother in the OnlyFans. They keep asking, they're like, oh, we like this bickering, we like this fighting. And so Avi offers him a proposal like, hey, why don't we make an OnlyFans together? Like, it's strictly just for the money. You know, we desperately need the money, and this would really help us out. And so now that's where we are, you know, because now the brother's like, I don't roll that way, bro, la 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 la. But this is so good. I really was not expecting it to like, I don't know, because like I said, our reading tastes are so different. but I'm glad that I picked this one. I'm really, like, I really wanted to read more romances because it's so hard to find them that aren't like YA for some reason. So I'm like really enjoying this, and like I might have found a new trope that I really enjoy, which is romance. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot. So there's that. We shall see. But as of right now, it's looking like a 4 to 5 star at the moment. Hello. So we are back with a final review for the Fans. So this book, honestly, it started off a little bit slow, okay? It was like, okay, and then it got like way better. And then again, it slowed down again. The thing is, here's the thing. I enjoyed the storyline. Like, I enjoyed like the events that happened. I enjoyed Kyron, the stepbrother, who like questions his sexuality. I enjoyed how open Avi is. I enjoyed their relationship and how it grew and progressed, and the conflicts and trials and tribulations that the two went through and overcame together to make them a stronger couple. However, what I didn't like, shockingly, is like, I like smut, okay? I like smutty scenes, but when it's too much and there's less plot and more smut, that's when I start to have an issue with it, because I'm trying to read for the story. Do you get what I mean? And I don't mind the smut that's inserted in there throughout the story if it plays a role, but if it's just smut, and most of the book is smut and less plot, that's when I start to get annoyed. And then this like book that's like 600 pages, I just felt like it didn't need to be 600 pages if 300 of those pages were just smut scenes anyways. Do you get what I mean? And that's how I felt about this one. So I ended up giving it a 3 out of 5 stars. I ended up going into a bit of a reading slump with this one, to be honest with you, just because I was getting so irritated by like all the smut, and I just felt like it's kind of like Lucy Score's books, where like they're so long and it's just like a romance book, and I'm like, why do you need to be this long? You do not need to be this long, okay? This could have been wrapped up in like 300 pages or less. It did not have to be 600 pages, and that's how I felt about this one. So I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. So that ends my review for this one. So yes, anyways, let's move on to the whole final wrap-up thing. Okay, so we are back with the finale. So which book did I like the most out of all of them? Honestly, the only one that I rated a 5 star was The Silent Patience by Alex Michaelides. This book was really good. This was a thriller that I was just not expecting it to go the way that it did. And this gave me that feeling that I haven't had since the very first thriller that I read years ago. So I loved this book so much. This was a definite 5 star, so I'm gonna have to give it up for Gabby Reads for this one. However, it doesn't mean that I just strictly like thrillers. Obviously, I love other genres, but this was probably my favorite, so I might do a reading vlog of Gabby Reads, but I also kind of want to do a reading vlog for Riley Marie, because I feel like she still has a lot of good books too, and maybe even later I might do all these booktubers. So that's it, you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell to be notified when I post, and give me a thumbs up. And if you made it all the way to the end, put a little don't speak emoji, like the little thing, you know what I mean? Or like the zipper, meaning something that symbolizes not speaking. So anyways, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!